Welcome to another flip through for Wiley Games. This time we're doing Wasteland Warriors. Now this is one of my all-time favorites. Doesn't get as much love in my opinion as I think it should, because I don't think people understand the versatility and utility of this book. So we're going to go through with a quick supplement. So you can see that it's a supplement for battles in the post-apocalyptic future. So to supplement, so you'll need at least the core book or Galactic Heroes to play this. This is not a standalone, but this adds to what we've already got in Fistful of Lead. So first off, you're going to see that we get a little brief description of what it's like in the Wastelands. Now, your idea of what the Wastelands are or mine's kind of based on early childhood cartoons like Thundar and reading comics books like Commodity Last Bar on Earth, but you can decide what you want to keep in this and what you want to not keep. One of the things we've added is hordes. So hordes are going to be big swarms of mutant rats or killer insect swarms or big rad scorpions, lots of itty bitty stuff. They're treated almost like grunts. So if you've read the rules before, you know what grunts are, or rabble. Also, we've got different kinds of characters you can play: humans, robots, mutants, mutated animals, mutated plants. Each of them have their own pluses and minuses that they have. So for instance, mutated plants, they start with one mutation on top of any other traits they have, and they can choose to have a second mutation, but to do so they have to choose a negative mutation. They're slow, so they don't move as fast as the rest of the characters, humans and robots, but they regenerate. But then they're flammable. So you can see that they're a little bit different, whereas mutated animals also get mutations, but they're not as good at figuring out tech left behind by the ancients, so we'll get into that a little bit later. But they get to have fangs and claws already built in. So we move on to how to make your gang, which you'll find is similar to the rest of our rules for making gangs in Fistful of Lead. A lot of the traits are the same. Negative traits, gang traits. But then we get into the fun part, mutations. So we've split them up so that they can be created with a random roll, or you can pick them. There's some things that can happen in the campaign, some settings and things that can cause mutations in mutants, mutated animals, mutated plants. You can see that there's a way to randomly create them. But what this is really great for is bringing it into others of a rule set. So if you want to have superpowers, that sort of thing, this is a perfect set for you. For instance, you can have a dual brain. So you have two brains, but not necessarily two heads. You gain the trait cunning and advanced comm traits. So basically you have like telepathy with your other members of your team. There's things like regeneration and fangs and claws. Sounds a lot like Wolverine. There's a mutation that lets you walk on walls. Sounds a lot like maybe Spider-Man or something. So you can see there's all kinds of mutations for this. Easy to add into other settings that you have. So if you wanted to make your aliens a little bit more alien in Galactic Heroes, you could do that. If you wanted to have some kind of sci-fi elements to maybe your Victorian or your horse and musket things, you could easily just say that these are implants or robotic type things. So that would also let you play a more cyberpunk setting also. Then we get into tech. So in this, there's different levels of technology. Everything from like primitive weapons all the way to like super high tech things. When you scavenge in this game, you will pick up things and there'll be different tech levels to them. And you will have to figure out how to use these things. Mutated animals have a harder time figuring out human tech, so they have a little bit more of a disadvantage, whereas straight humans, they get a bonus on trying to figure them out. All kinds of cool equipment. Again, you could bring into other games. Ammo is a little bit different in this. So normally if you roll a 1 and you're out of ammo in our games, if you spend 2 turns reloading or play the special 6 card, you get it back. But since this is a post-apocalyptic wasteland, in this game, you run out of ammo or roll a 1, you are out of ammo for the rest of the game unless your miniature has the loads of ammo trait, or you've got extra ammo obtained from previous games. So lots of cool different things. Instead of grenades, we have boomers. Instead of lasers, we have beamers. There's a whole bunch of new equipment. Again, we've got a random table, so if you're scavenging, you can randomly create what it is on the table, including food, which we'll get into that later. So there's rules for scavenging, so actually finding it. So most of the scenarios, you're going to have scavenge points scattered around the battlefield. So part of the game will be trying to grab as many scavenge points as you can. And while you're scavenging, things can happen, like you saw if a booby trap or a wandering monster shows up, or an event, and we've got all those covered in here. So we've got all kinds of cool random events and booby traps. You could have a rad storm or necronado, wandering monsters show up, that sort of thing. Then we've got an entire campaign setting similar to how we did Reloaded. So using a deck of cards, you randomly create the scenarios. Each of them again have their own fun special victory conditions and special rules, and then throw in those scavenge points we talked about. So between games in this is similar to our other ones, where you find out just how bad your gang members have been wounded, but on top of that, you also have to provide for your gang. So in this, you have to be able to feed them, equip them, and if you can't do that, you're going to start losing members of your gang. You can trade items that you have so that you can get new items, and ultimately it'll come to a showdown with the rest of your other Wasteland gangs to see who is on top. We've got a whole menagerie of creatures that I've taken from imagination and stuff that I've read over the years. You'll recognize them from some post-apocalyptic games and literature, with the name slightly changed, of course. And then rules on how to make your own creatures. We've actually got factions, alliances in here. So if you say you had a mutated animal gang, you can be part of the animal kingdom. They have certain sort of rules you have to fall within. You get an advantage and a disadvantage for each belonging to one of these factions. In this case, the animal kingdom, your gang rolls a d10 and divides it in half, rounding up. This is the number of food the pack has hunted down, so easier for you to find food. Disadvantage, survival roll between games by a gang member. If it ends up just wing meat or it's not so bad, it means the gang member is too weak for the kingdom's eyes and are eaten by the rest. So being a part of one of these alliances can give your team a boost, but it also will have disadvantages. We've got my map of the Wastelands. Yours could be completely different, with explanations about the different spots that are in there. Like the dead zone, known as the dead zone, is irradiated territory where nothing lives very long. So avoid that at all costs. Then of course a little quick wrap up by me, talking about how you can use Wasteland Warriors for other types of games, or maybe your Wasteland doesn't hit in the future. Maybe it happened after the Martian invaders left Earth in the Victorian period. So instead of running around fighting mutants, maybe you're just going to the surface to scavenge Martian tech and that sort of thing. So you could take your Apocalypse and move it to any point you want. And then quick little recap there on the back. So in conclusion, I think this is a much underused resource. There's tons of ideas in here, tons of equipment. The mutations alone are great. If you want to expand your other games, for instance, I brought the mutations from this book, brought them into Galactic Heroes, some spells from Might and Melee's Magic and Mages, and was able to whip together a pretty good approximation of Masters of the Universe kind of setting. So again, I think it's a great resource to throw into a game that you already have, and I hope you'll pick it up. Thanks.